Alrighty, good afternoon, good morning, and good evening, everyone watching me all over the world. It's been a while since I did a Facebook Live. I'm not even sure I know how to do that anymore, but we're going to try today. Today is a new year, let's put it that way, and I've decided I'm going to go back into multimedia. I've spent the last 1 year hiding inside Gist House and doing my thing. And this year we are starting over by being everywhere, not just on Gist House, but also on all social media that will have me. So we will be live on Facebook, we will be live on Twitter, we will be live on Gist House. Of course, Gist House remains the primary broadcast channel for me, because that is we're going to be talking a lot about Gist House later today. But today I have one of those preeminent gentlemen from Nigeria, who is now being claimed by Dubai, who has done great things in the last 7 years. And it's my pleasure to have been associated with him, to have been played a little part in his rise to the top. So we are going to be unveiling everything tonight. I call it Hot Seat with Game Changers. This gentleman, his name is Dr. Akintayo. I will bring him up in a minute. Is one of those people that indeed has changed the game in both real estate and in the digital business. And he's a young man, because we keep talking about youth and youths. He is a young man. At least me, I cannot claim to be young, no matter what I do. Nobody will agree I'm a yuppie anymore, so it's okay. So we have a young man that has done great things, and we are going to be highlighting him all through today. If you are watching us live right now, we are live on several platforms. I want to encourage you. You want to join us in on Gist House, which is where he will be taking questions from the audience. First, we are going to have an hour or two, just me and him. It's a one-on-one hot seat with Game Changer, and you are going to understand why I call it a hot seat later. Once we go live with him, he's no longer my friend. We are here to get the secrets he must tell us today. How he made all those billions. He has been talking English. I say, okay, today I will pin you down on air, and you will tell the whole of Nigerians how we can also be like you. Because when your son starts leaving you behind, you cannot show pride. You have to call him, say, Bobo, excuse my Yoruba. So today is my time to get Mr. Stephen Akintayo, Dr. Stephen Akintayo's secrets. But if you want to interact with him as this goes on, we encourage you to join us on Gist House, the audio conversation app that actually rewards you for having great conversations. Let me bring up my guest without much ado, because many of you will start complaining about that in a minute. So here we are, Dr. Stephen Akintayo, a man that needs no more introduction in Nigeria. Everywhere I turn, I see you. Everywhere you go, everywhere I go, I see you. Thank you so much for coming on the hot seat at the Gist House tonight. God bless you so much. Say hello to Nigerians all over the world, and we can get this game on the road.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Ope, for having me. It's amazing how, when I met Dr. Ope, was one of the few people who, we just go everywhere mentioning my name. Even what I've not done, he will say I've done it. And that got a lot of people that mattered to even, look in my direction, because prior to meeting Dr. I was doing my thing. I'd been in the industry for, I think, 7 years doing my business. But some people who mattered were not considering who I was. But when somebody at the level of doctor keeps saying there's this young man, he's doing great, a lot of great people started looking my direction, and it was something that I needed at that phase of my life and business. And I want to thank him for that.
All right, Dr. Stephen Akintayo, thank you so much for honoring me tonight. I consider it an honor indeed. Somebody might say, I'm your daddy. If I call you, you will come. I don't do like that. When a boy has become a daddy himself, you have to treat him like a daddy. So thank you so much for coming in here today. I really, really appreciate you. And I hope that your coming tonight will be a blessing to many Nigerians, both today and thereafter, because you're a man that also has a heart of giving and a heart of sharing. And hopefully, as you are watching us across the world, today is going to be a great day for you. That's the prayer I want to pray in advance. You are going to pick one or two things from him or from me tonight that will take you to your next level of development in 2023, because it always starts with a connection or a video, and this might be yours tonight. Dr. Stephen, you need to try to request to be put on video on G-Stars. We do have video on G-Stars. Now, come on now. Don't be playing with me now. All right? You got to request it. You got to request it. We are live on G-Stars right now. As he's figuring that out, I'm going to play. Yes.
I think the challenge is that I'm not, I don't have, what's it called?
Okay, you don't have your video on there. Okay.
That's the selfie stick. I don't have a selfie stick for.
Just let me guide you. You see that the smiley button at the bottom right hand of your phone? You see that? Click on it. When you click on it, you will see a button that will say request video. So what we'll do is it'll put you on video the way I am on video now. Because it's a new feature we just launched on G-Stars just yesterday. It's my first time of using it myself, and there you go. Now you put on the video. There's that X. You got to click on it so that the video can be on.
All right? Yeah, but what I'm saying is that I've done that, but I'm sure. Okay, as you can see, I don't have a selfie stick for it, so it's.
Yeah, we are seeing you very well.
Okay.
That man to bring that selfie stick back. Who is that man doing the selfie stick? Oh yeah. Let them not cover your face. There you go.
I only have one selfie stick here. It's for the other phone, but I think this is fine, right?
This is fine. You can't show yourself on Facebook and not show yourself on G-Stars now. We can't chance this now.
And congratulations, this is impressive. I'm not even sure Clubhouse has video.
Oh, see, you know I like to. Hey.
Levels.
They're going to be me now. I'm getting my lawyer ready. I'm going to sue somebody.
Have you patented the?
Of course. The first thing I filed was the patent before I launched it. I'm not playing.
Nice.
I'm not playing. I'm making money. So I know they will copy me. You know now. All right. So, everything is set now. We can see you well on G-Stars. We can see you on Twitter. We can see you on Facebook. So now let's get to it. You know me? I don't do all this, how is your children, how is your wife type of stuff. We're going to do that one later. By the way, how is my madam? How is my daughter? How is she doing?
She's doing great.
Shout out to you there. We're going to be talking about that later. All right. First question. All right. Now, for me, the reality is that even me that was watching you right before my eyes, I saw where you were when I met you 7-8 years ago, and I see where you are now. It is nothing short of phenomenal. Anybody saying otherwise, they just don't know you. Now, not to talk about those who knew you maybe just 4 or 5 years ago. They just had this guy come on, and all of a sudden, you are a mega guy. So, first question here is, give us your short and rag to riches story and who you are today, so that those who don't know you may know you. Very simple. Short, more or less, that's your introduction now. Your short rag to riches story. I'm going to correct that. Sorry, my typo. Your short short and go ahead. You understand, right?
Yes, I do. And once again, thank you for having me on this platform. I'm grateful. I don't take it for granted. I want to say that, I was born in Maiduguri, the northern part of Nigeria. My mom was a civil servant. My dad's business had crumbled before I was born, so I practically was born into poverty. I read my first money book, Read That Poor, at age 17, 18. Started business on campus, but in fact, I probably failed in like 20 businesses. I just kept trying, kept doing it. And of course, at some point, the bulk SMS business, came along the line 15 years ago. And I kept doing that bulk SMS business until 2015, when we started doing hundreds of millions. And that was the only time we then diversified into real estate. Of course, that was tough. People someone like Doctor warned me about that. This is your real estate thing, right? No day. you know, but again, like somebody said, "Ojú ẹni máa là á rí, ojú ẹni máa là á rí ọ̀nà." But ultimately, the real estate was indeed a game changer for us, and we bless God for where we are today. But my story is that, you know, once I was poor, now I'm rich. And I prefer wealth to poverty, period.
All right. Yeah,
And
yeah. Go ahead. You have not. Yeah, your. Okay, that's an intro. I will take that.
yeah, yeah.
That's an intro. I will take that. All right, guys. If you are just joining us, you want to share this link with as many friends as possible, and I'm so excited to be seeing myself on live video on Gist House right now. I still can't get over it. All right, because the first time I'm using it. If I had seen this, I probably wouldn't even have done a Facebook live. But we are here already. All right, you are live with us with Dr. Akintayo, the founder CEO of the GTEX group of companies, currently with offices and estates in Nigeria. Because before they say I used to hype him, the hype has become real right now. I have hyped him into reality. The man has estates in Nigeria, beyond Lagos, Dubai, UK, and several states in the United States. When Steve comes to the US now, he's the one introducing me to people in America. In fact, this life is not level, but it's okay. All right. Okay. So let's cut to the chase for those who might be having data problems later. I want them to learn as much as they can from you before they go. So, because I hear you every day and I see you every day, I see your videos, but today I'm going to challenge you. I know there's still that one story there that you have not yet brought out. You are going to give me one original story, one previously untold story that is part of your amazing rise that can be an inspiration to those watching. Everybody has got some stories, some amazing ones. And I know there's still one out there that has to debut on my show today that you have not yet shared. Oh yeah, I want to hear it.
Well, which one would be okay? So my first and last time I slept in a cell, I used to organize what do you call it, like a trade fair across campuses. So there was this campus I organized for. There was a campus, I'll mention their name, that student couldn't go out. So we were like their representative. So I sent an SMS inviting people for that trade fair. And it was a university where the chancellor, previously the last trade fair, some of the students drank. So the chancellor said no more trade fair in this university. So, but again, I think somehow it was approved. Somebody in the board of regents got the SMS, felt it was a fake, somebody trying to scam people, send it to the registrar. The registrar said wasn't aware. The VC said wasn't aware. And they wrote a letter to my bank. True story. So I went to the bank, and the bank just said a letter came from somewhere about you that, we cannot allow you go arrest suspect on site. I was shocked. In fact, somebody came along too, and this was an institution I'm part of in terms of the university. So we even said, look, we are like almost like co-owners, but true story, they called the police. Before we could reach out to the people in the university, I slept in that cell that night. By the next morning, mistaken identity, we are sorry, we didn't know it was you. The SMS carried company name, it didn't carry your name. All manner of story, but at least I slept in the cell. I preached to 7 people that gave their life to Christ himself because I just felt.
So you're like, wow, God has to send you to that jail to preach to somebody.
That was also one of that experience that taught me that it is suicidal to be small in Nigeria. Because what was funny was that account, Dr. Ope, did not even have up to 20,000 in it. So let's even assume, the allegation. At least the bank should have checked history and said nobody has even paid money into this account. But because an account that has hundreds of millions and my own that has 20, less than 20,000. Once they got that letter from the other account that was bigger, they didn't even consider anything. They just freeze my account. Once I showed up, hand me over to the police. Today now, they no burn any bank well to try that out with me because everybody has their billions.
Everywhere.
Everybody has their billions, but those were part of the humbling experiences when your business is still small that really provoked me to go in big, because I just realized that, particularly in the Nigerian setup, if you are small, it's suicidal. Anybody will deal with you. Anybody.
No, you're 100% correct. Yes, we have some comments. We are going to be coming to G-Stars for their comments later. G-Stars is where we are going to be doing the Q&A right after my grilling Dr. Stephen on live video. We are going to go to live video inside of G-Stars. If you want to engage him, ask him questions, you want to actually download the G-Stars app right now, wherever you are. And let me type that in there. Gstars.com, Gstars, is it .live? Yeah, .live/Stephen Akintayo, because we want you to come in as a guest of Stephen Akintayo today. Let's know how many of his boys are following him into Gstars today. So that is the link. I think I posted it as a comment in there. Gstars.com, sorry, Gstars.live. Gstars.live. Oops. My excuse, let me just get that right. Nope. Gsthouse.live/Stephen Akintayo. So for those of you who are listening on audio, you can join us on Gsthouse audio and video conversation app. Now we don't leave only audio behind. We're now audio and video app. You can join us, and we want to know how many are coming in through Dr. Stephen Akintayo, and I'm sure Ipale will be giving some giveaway to those who came into Gsthouse today as a result of him appearing on this show. But he's very correct. Like he said, it is suicidal to be small in Nigeria. We are going to be visiting that topic because it's very correct. I know I also have my own history when Mariam Babangida locked me up for daring to organize a workshop way back in 1992 when I was still hustling. Like Dr. Stephen Akintayo, when he thought his eye is red, now my eye was redder, and I was ready to die. So I organized a workshop in Abuja for the I called it the role of women in the Third Republic. And unknown to me, Mariam Babangida had an issue with that because my chairman was the late Professor. What's the name of this? My mommy again. So the chairman of the Nigerian Women Commission. So was my chairman, Professor Bolanle Awe, and unknown to us, Mariam Babangida thought Bolanle Awe was trying to get clout with women. She had this rural women something for rural women that Babangida started for him, and they were using to siphon money. Forgot the name now. Greater Life for Rural Women? No.
Better Life.
Better Life for Rural Women. So she had that program. They didn't have a budget, but they were using Nigerian Women Commission to siphon the money. So Professor Bolanle Awe they've been having their issues. Me, I didn't know. I was just a hustler, young boy. 1992, I was in my 25, 26 years old. So I just wanted to make money organizing workshops. So when I did it, then they just came there. They thought somebody's using me. Like some people thought somebody's using Stephen now. People tell me, he's laundering money for people. He's doing this for that. Today we are going to answer those questions. Don't worry. Okay? That's also what they thought of me that I say. So they locked me up. They said I used Mariam Babangida's name and I ended up spending 7 days in jail. So I can relate to that. It is suicidal to be small in Nigeria until Professor Bolanle Awe, God bless her soul, went out there. She even resigned from as chairman of Nigerian Women Commission over the matter, that she is doing a workshop with me that they are supposed to be doing. But I had an initiative to do it for them, and then they locked me up. Then a lot of people, me, Eli, Ezekiel, God bless her memory also, all of them came out and fought for me before they brought me out of jail for 7 days. No apologies, no nothing. That's a whole long story in one of my books. I even almost got killed by this Akilu guy that is going around right now. So my point is that if I had money, if I was big, if my daddy was big, that couldn't have happened. That can't happen to my son now. We die there. Okay? so it can't happen to my son or daughter. So you are very correct. In fact, you are very correct. It is decided to be that for you to view on Gist House, you have to go into Gist House. Okay, you have to log on to Gist House with that link I just gave you, gisthouse.live/Stephen Akintayo. If you go to that link, it will take you to download a Gist House app, or you can actually download it if you like. Download it on the app stores. Gist House is on Google Play Store as well as iOS Play Store. So if you download it, you'll be able to join us live. We are also on video right in there, so you can then ask your question and get your reward as we go. All right, I didn't even know something. This is somebody joining us from a Netpreneurs show group on Facebook. See, I'm too much everywhere. I've forgotten which one is which now. Okay, all right, Stephen, to the next question. I believe the reason why I'm putting the questions on the screen is because I'm going to cut out each of the questions one by one, and then we're going to post the video separately so that people can learn from it just the same way I do for all my hot seats. You know, I believe, Stephen, that most people succeed when they have a big why. A lot of people struggle. They don't have the passion, the energy, the determination to succeed because they don't have a big why they are doing that. They just hear that people get rich. Okay, me too, I want to get rich. Or people doing this business, let me also do this business. But typically when you see people like you, who within a few years broke every barrier that is available, and you are still going. I don't see you say, oh, I want to retire now. You live in Dubai. You have an apartment in the biggest building in the world, tallest building in the world, the Burj Khalifa. You live in Banana Island. Your office is in Banana Island. You are not even taking it easy. It's like you don't even have money yet. The way you talk, the way you talk, there has to be a big why. What's driving you to embark on this breathtaking global hustle? And when I use the word hustle, for those who know me, I mean in terms of pushfulness. I have a lot of hustle myself, so not in the negative sense at all. What is driving you to embark on this breathtaking global hustle where you are building empires all over? Go ahead. Nigerians want to learn.
Well, three things. That's a very good question. Three things, actually. Number one is the fact that I vowed to God many years ago. I mean, I was struggling. You know, those times you're struggling and you're just saying everything to cajole God and bribe God, that if He blesses me, I'm going to pull as many people as I can out of poverty. I have some very daring vision. One of it is I want to, before I leave this earth, send 1 million kids to school. So I also want to make sure that at least 1 million people become millionaires in my lifetime. So with all this big vision, you just can't stop because all of them require money. A lot of them. If I would just made a pledge of $5 million to 1,000 entrepreneurs, giving $5,000 grants each. So this year we're giving 24 grants, two every month. Next year we're increasing to 48. 2025 we're increasing to 120. Like that till 2027. Hopefully at the end of 2027 we expand again. So when you have all these big dreams, you have to hustle harder to be able to do that. Number two is the fact that my dad was actually very successful when he was young. And I'm always reminded that it's not how you start, it's how you end. And that once you blink in a tickle of an eye, what you think is a big stuff becomes nothing. And it's even happening. When you look at our growth in Nigeria, and the level of inflation that happened last year, if we had not consistently pushed harder, we would have recorded negative growth. In fact, we were having our growth since COVID was about 500% growth, right? For the first time, we had less than 100% growth last year. So you can imagine how anything can change in the economy, anything can change. But the good news was that we had expanded internationally. And so our international expansion supported us a bit against the inflation and issues that the Nigerian economy is facing. So my dad experience of, was successful at the beginning, came down at some point. I vow not to repeat that same pattern. And so my hustle has to continue till I leave I leave this earth. For me, that's very, very critical. The last point, for me, I think, has been the decision to stay hungry, right? Knowing that all power, all wealth belongs to God, and we are just steward. The best, if we're going to give account of these things, and there is no limit to success. I think the place of mentorship from people like you, the place of exposure. I remember last year I was in the new expansion by Bishop Oyedepo, another over 10,000 hectares of land, right? And, one of the church admin was giving me a breakdown that they're going to build an airport there. I kept asking questions. My brain was just blowing. Like, I was like, we never start, right? So sometimes people praise me. I'm like, I have some people that, proximity has brought me close to, that when I sit down with them, I'm just humbled. I have meetings with Cosmos Maduka, Grand Kadon, Dr. Ope Banwo. When these people break down things, you just know that, you've just started. And so there's more to do.
Awesome. No, the reason why I asked this, and this is in fact, I plan to do like a kind of what I call a business clinic that I do inside of Gist House. One of the topics I'm handling tomorrow is exactly this exactly. What's your big why? What's driving you to do what you do? That's the topic of the room we're having on Gist House tomorrow. I think that is 9 a.m. and that's 4 p.m. Nigerian time. So if you are watching this, I want to encourage you, join me on Gist House app tomorrow at 4 p.m. Nigerian time. You can download Gist House right now on any of the app stores, or use Stephen Akintayo's link to join us. But the reason why I like to ask this, okay, where's that question? Let me bring it back up. The question about what's your why? Okay. Where is it? No, just a second. I want it to be on the screen because that's what we are discussing. Is one of the reasons, one of the things I perceived as the major obstacle for people really going beyond the normal. See, because when things get tough and you don't have a big why, you give up. If you lose, or let's say you lose money, or you lose or your wife leaves you, or some big thing happen in your life, if you don't have a big why driving you, you are not going to keep going. So for me, in this 2023, like I'm teaching my proteges, is that the first thing you have to first find is what's your big why? Why are you doing it? Because it's not enough to say I just want to be rich. So for those of you watching, my own style of interview is different. This is a conversation. Just in case you are saying, why is this man talking so much? He's supposed to be asking questions. I don't do that. We are discussing, myself and Stephen Akintayo, we are discussing what with him, of course, on the hot seat to answer some tough questions. It's always very strange when people, why did I decide at some point that I really want to be rich? So it's one thing to say I want to be rich. It's another thing for you to say, no, I want to be rich. And then whatever it takes. Stephen just told you about his own father. And he just told you what keeps him going. Remember his big why? He even himself has not framed it that way. But I can see it now. Now I understand him. Because by now I thought he would be slowing down. I thought he would be enjoying more of his money. But the man says, I watch my dad. He makes it and then the thing nosedives. And I don't want that to be me. So I can't slow down. That's why you see the man, he opens an office in Dubai today. The next thing I'm seeing, he tells me I'm in, it's in Baltimore. I'm like, what are you doing in Baltimore? I said, an office there. I'm like, what? Then he said, no, I want to take this game to another level. I left him in the cage. By the time I came 2 years ago, the man is in Banana Island. I'm like, what? You know what funny? Well, we're going to talk about that in a minute. When you told me your office is in Banana Island, you know what was in my head? I'm going to be very honest with you. And that this hustle boy, that he has got to find one small voice cutters room that is using so that he can tell me he's in Banana Island. I know the deal. After I do those type of hustle. That was what was in my head. That is probably just begging some guy to let him put a desk so that he can sleep in my office in Banana Island. It takes a big thing for anybody to surprise me. I'm not going to lie. When I got to his office in Banana Island, I was in shock. Because not only was he not using one small desk, his office is 3 floors, Banana Island. That me, I'm still afraid to go rent the voice quarters. I'm like, what? So, good one, by the way. We're going to come back to that. It's a very, very big inspiration, even to me, when I see what you are doing. Still on the big why. Let me share with you guys a little bit about my own big why, which is funny. You know, a lot of people's big why is that, oh, I grew up poor and I didn't like the way I was, the way I couldn't feed myself or my father couldn't feed myself. That's not me. I could lie and say that I didn't grow up rich. In fact, by most standards, they will say I grew up very poor. I grew up in Fadeyi. My father was a civil servant and we grew up in the face me I face. But the truth is, even though by most people's standard we were poor, I didn't even feel poor. So I didn't get upset by growing up in Fadeyi. Nothing affected me mentally because I grew up. In fact, there was a time between me and my senior brother, who's an architect right now, okay, where we have only one school uniform. We are going to LCC Fadeyi, or we are going to LCC in Fadeyi. It's a Lagos City Council School, Fadeyi. There was only one uniform because I think my own got torn or his own. But we are too afraid to tell daddy that the uniform is damaged. So he was in the morning session. I was in the afternoon in primary school. So I will stand by the corner. When my brother he will go in the morning, I'm in the afternoon. So when he finishes in the morning, I will go and hide by Olonode Street. And then we will go to one corner and then we'll change uniform. That's how poor we were. But I didn't feel deprived. And that's the funniest thing. But so that wasn't my big why. Getting out of Fadeyi wasn't my big why. I didn't even feel I was suffering. To be very honest, you know my big why, which is strange. That's why you have to look for yours. I went to a party. My own big why came at a party. Okay? I went to a party with my best friend. And you guys are going to love this story. And that's why I want it on screen. Okay? We went to a party that is being organized by the junior sister of one of my friends. This was right after we finished law school. Okay, we are still struggling, working. You know, it was my, I think this we left law school 1986, served 1986. So this must be like 87, 88. So we went to a party and then I met this girl there. Beautiful girl, amazing girl. At least to my eyes, it's like, wow, who created this fine girl? So I toasted her. This is a really inspirational story to many of you. So I trusted her and I said, okay, after this party, we are going to go to a club. So she said yes, but she came with her friend. So of course, our friend said, okay, we're going to go together. Now, we went to that party with my best friend's Ope record that his father, who used to work in ministry, okay, had put on the Odo, or is it drum, or whatever they call it. That car, the father had used it for 18 years. And then the car had wrecked, they put it on drum, and then we went and resuscitated it after we finished youth corps. So we put tire, but it was a very old Opel record. We put a new paint, but you can look at it and know that this is an ancient of this. But it was moving us. So we went to that party with it, and we were feeling cool. This was, maybe I was. So as we were about to enter the car, the guys were ready to go with us. Then the Okoya boys drove in into that place with a brand new BMW. I cannot forget. It's 1988. 1988. They came in. No. Sorry, 1990. 1990, not 1988. I was already in Atlantis. So they drove in. And then one of the kids, two of them, they were in this brand new 3 Series BMW. One of them knew the friend of the girl that I was toasting. Okay, I'm going somewhere. So then he called her. Said, Bisi, come. So he called, so the girl went. And then the next thing I know, he talked to them about taking them to laws or whatever. And then, of course, BMW 3 Series, brand new, versus Opel record, was a no contest. So the guy now came back and said, she wants to go with those other guys. The next thing I know, the babe that I was toasting also now said, hey, sorry guys, I will see you guys later, blah, blah, blah. And went with them. Now, this may sound funny, and it is funny. So when we were going on, it was a bitter experience for us. Now, me, initially, I wasn't upset, but I felt but my friend, who is the one even driving the car, me, I don't even have car, remember, I was at my friend. He was so angry. From Surulere, they were living, his father was living in Ikoyi, I was living with them in Ikoyi then. He was just bitter. Say, see what I'm talking about, okay? When you are poor, when you are poor, you can't get ahead in this country that I must be rich. I don't care. And I said, calm down. They knew themselves forgetting that if we also had a BMW 3 Series, whether they knew themselves from tomorrow, they would have gone. And then we started catching the fire.
Is that friend Kayode?
Yes, that's my best friend now. Of course, it's Kayode. I didn't want to mention his stuff, because so he was bitter. And then when we got on top of Ambry, we swore that we can't here in this country if we are not rich. And it sounds funny, but that's what triggered me. Before I was careful. I was okay. I was working at Anderson, but I didn't have this passion to be rich or energy to be rich until that day. You know? So that is my biggest. So every time I'm hustling them. Now, because I don't have, you know why I don't have that much fire anymore now? Do you know why? Can you guess? Can you guess? Can you guess?
No.
All right. That girl is not my wife. I got the girl eventually. Screw you, Okoya voice. Screw you. I got the babe. So my wife, Monica Ajoke today, who is now my wife for 28 years, was that girl. You know, it was a very funny story. 1.5 years later, I have now gotten my big break in my hustle. I was now a managing director of a finance company by another guy. And then we were hiring. And guess who walked in coming to fill out application? I said, God catch you today, you this girl. To cut the long story short, even before I saw her, I was already engaged to somebody. I'm like, this is the one I want. And it was like a joke. And that is how we started it. Of course, this time now, had official car. I was now a bad boy. You know, so my point, it's not that my wife, or the girl at the time who's now my wife and mother of my kids, it's not that she's materialistic, it's the way life works. Yeah. We want to suffer. We are both young boys. The Okoya boys were my age. It's not like they were older, they were not sugar daddies. They were, so the story there is that when we are going home, so Kade was not saying, forget them, you know, when me I'm now starting to get angry, that he now said, don't mind them anyway, it's their father's car that they are driving. So I asked her, I said, but Super K, it's your daddy's car too you are driving now. It's your daddy's car too you are driving now. So why is it their fault that our own father does not have, so my point is that we got a big fight. It drove up. Now that she's my wife, we've been living together for 28 years now. Maybe I don't have that fire that I used to have then, because for me, my big why was that they will not chance me in this country. Whether it has to do with woman, whether it has to do with business, whether it has to do with life, get enough money so that you can fight for yourself and believe in what you want and get what you want. Because I got the girl, I still want the guy to hear me on TV now. Yeah, I got the babe. You can see that I'm still bitter. Even 28 years after. All right, that's my big one. But seriously, and I'm not kidding, that is what gave me motivation for about 4 or 5 years. And then from there, I couldn't go back anymore. At that point, the fire has already caught. I don't know what is it with you. Okay, there's something in your past. If you're watching this now, that you need to remember something that made you felt very bad. Maybe it's simply you couldn't buy drug for your daddy or yourself, or maybe you couldn't get into certain school. Use that as motivation because you need it. Life is too tough. If you don't have something motivating you, you are going to give up when things get tough. But for me, that time when I couldn't get a job, when I tried to start my law firm then in that time and it didn't work, I kept going because I don't want any other person to take my girl. Like it cannot happen. Not then, not anymore. It cannot. So, Stevie, that is my why. I know it sounds funny. Okay. So, what is your why, guys? Let us have your feedback from you. What is your why? What is your why? What is your why? You need to find it. Michael Jordan, at every point in time, you have to, like, when I finally got most of what I want, and now I got the girl. The girl has had 3 kids for me. 4 kids. We are fine now. She's not going anywhere. I need to find another why. So for a while, it was like I was just coasting. But eventually, I found another why. Why am I doing what I'm doing? I want to leave a legacy. You know, if other people's parents can leave legacy for their children, why am I not leaving legacy for mine? If other people can pioneer stuff, why should Africans be taking second stage? That's my later why. That's why you guys see me dying on Gist House. Because Gist House is one of those apps that is allowing Africans to play at the beginning of a new revolution in social media. 3 years ago, there was no audio conversation app. Then Clubhouse came, right? And Clubhouse was everywhere. And I asked myself, why can't Nigerians or Africans own something like that? And I caught fire from there. I focused everything I had on it. I didn't even make money last year. I was focused on Gist House. You got to have your why. Without a why, you are going to be ordinary. I tell you, no matter how intelligent you are. Steven is ready to die. You know why? Because every time he wants to slow down, he remembers his father. And it's like, no, we are not doing this. We are not doing this shit. Thank you, Steven, for sharing. All right. Okay. What I am now is enough motivation. Interesting. That's an interesting comment. What do you have to say about that, Steven, before we even go on? Because this is a very important topic. Oluwafemi Amosun says, where I am now is enough motivation. I don't know where you are now, but I think that's an interesting thing.
I think I think many of us, and I'm happy she's saying that because obviously she's inspired from what we're saying, and she's looking at where she is and saying, no, I don't want to remain here. So I'm now inspired to go further where I am. I mean, sometimes you find yourself at the best thing that can happen to you is if you're on the ground. There's nowhere else to go but up. And once you see it from a more positive perspective instead of negative, it becomes that fuel. I tell people, use your pain as the fuel to your next level.
I like that. Use your pain as the fuel for the next level. I hope somebody's listening out there. Whatever pain you're dealing with right now, use it. Don't feel sorry for yourself too much. Use it as your motivation to crush it. Yes, I had pain with those boys. I had serious pain. I still have some of that pain today. Steve will say this my guy started. So, but let's take a short break. When we come back, I'm going to be taking on Stephen on another very interesting topic. What we like to do with this conversation with game changers is to also try to teach. Make sure you learn some stuff, not just somebody just answering questions. You also learn something that can help you go to the next level. We all know that February is coming, and everybody is talking about who their preference, who their candidate is. I'm not going to turn this to a campaign thing. This is a very serious discussion with Dr. Stephen Akintayo here. I believe that every Nigerian needs to exercise their civic duty to get the change you want. Whoever you believe in, This is not me saying go vote for this guy, go vote for this guy. But you need to participate in the process. You need to get your PVC. A lot of people are talking a lot of crap right now. Oh, I'm going to die for Asiwaju. I'm going to die for Peter Obi. I'm going to die for Atiku. You can't die for anybody. Live for them by going to the poll to vote. If you don't have your PVC, you can't participate in the process. So I just want to dedicate this to those of you watching. Yes, we know we are live with Stephen Akintayo, the CEO of GTEX, a group of companies, but we are not operating in a vacuum. We want Nigeria to be better. We want Nigerians to have a voice in choosing who represent them. Last election, less than 30% of the people voted. So you all have leaders that you don't have a part in selecting. This year, let's make it different. Whoever wins, wins. But let everybody participate. You can't vote in February if you don't have a PVC. And I believe that so strongly as part of my civic responsibility. And I've been doing this even before I pick the candidate. Most people are watching this, know who my candidate is, but I'm not even going to talk about him here. Today, this is not about him. This is about you and I participating in the process. I feel so strongly about it. I even paid a musician to create a whole music track and a whole video. I paid for it on getting your PVC. So I want to do a shout out to Babané, one of my old musicians, artists, that helped me to produce this song. It's called Get Your PVC. And the song is generic. This is not about anybody coming to a campaign for any particular candidate. I'm begging you as a youth, if you're out there, go get your PVC if you don't have one. We all need to take part in this. We all need to execute our civic responsibility so that when the time comes, we can say, yeah, I was part of those people who voted. I exercised my right. Your candidate may win or lose. It doesn't matter. It's democracy. But you must be there on February. Let's celebrate Babané as a music break. When we come back, I will get back on the hot seat with Dr. Stephen Akintayo, the founder CEO of the GTEX group of companies. And he's going to tell us about the hottest project in his life right now when we get back.
Now we be government, after we not the government. Now we be government, after we not the government. Our new government, after we not the government. Now we be government, after we not the government. Nigeria life is matter most a lot. Get your baby. We give us job and good roads, Get your baby. The only thing they fear more than God is your baby. Education and security, get your brothers. Now we be government, after we not the government. Now we be government, after we not the government. Our new government, after we not the government. Now we be government, after we not the government. To complain about the government now wait. Already come out for the election and vote. Let's get our PVC along, so we can vote for the person where we want. For better tomorrow, it's time to get up and go. Get up and go. It's time to get my PVC. We die here. Join the PVC challenge. Use your PVC, pursue them. Pursue them. 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 Nigeria life is matter most a lot. Get your PVC. We give us job and good roads, Get your PVC. The only thing they fear more than God is your PVC. Education and security, Get your brothers. Now we be government, after we not the government. Now we be government, after we not the government. Our new government, after we not the government. Now we be government, after we not the government. Nigeria life is matter most a lot. Get your baby. We give us job and good roads, Get your baby. The only thing they fear more than God is your baby. Education and security, Get your brothers.
Heidi. Okay, I thought that was an amazing song from Babané. Babané, wherever you are, I celebrate you. That's a young man that Nigeria is happening to that under. You need to lower your stuff again. Yes, if Nigeria were to be good, Daneil should be one of those bad boys out there on the street. But big shout out to you, my boy. All right, let's get back to Dr. Stephen Akintayo on the hot seat. Okay, my next question here. Okay, let me bring out a big one here. What is the biggest thing happening to you right now in real estate? We're going to come back to your total domination of the real estate business in Nigeria in a short time. But I wanted you to also have an opportunity to talk about the project that you are doing before people start running out of recharge card. But go for it. What's your biggest project now?
Well, we kind of have many. We have a project, 25,000 housing units. So we just launched the 1,000 housing unit project where people can just deposit 5 million and spread the rest in 3 years. And so by March, we are starting, construction, building, and it's a tough one in terms of costing, raising funds, structure that is required. We're literally having to build offices in, 8 estates we have, trying to relocate staff to those places, build office structure in those places. But again, if there's anybody that can do it, it's different films.
All right. I just wanted you to put in a little bit about your business there, because at the end of the day, like somebody will tell me, you are catching cloud with Dr. Stephen Akintayo. Let him catch some cloud back on me now, so that we can all promote. He has a big project coming up. I gave him an in. He didn't take it, but I will take it for him. He has a big project in the Dangote refinery that is happening right now. That I'm going to be playing a very nice video about that in a while. And it's something we're going to come to that. I'm not a big real estate guy myself. So that takes me to the next question, which is going to tie everything into real estate. Stephen, where is that question? Yes, this is the question. I am not a real estate guy myself. You tried so hard to get me involved. But I keep telling you, I don't know real estate. I don't want to do real estate. Even the houses I bought, I have several of them in Lagos now, 5. I can't even maintain Airbnb. They are vacant because I don't have interest in it. So though Stephen credits me with everything, yes, his mentor taught him this, taught him that. I didn't even teach him real estate. I can't teach what I don't know now. I didn't teach him real estate. I taught him fundamentals of business, yes, but somehow by himself, he got that real estate thing together. He kept telling me, before he started, real estate, where the money is. I'm like, leave me alone. Me, I don't want to. But he went, he saw, and he conquered. That even me, I'm literally stunned when I look at how far he has come in a very, very short time. Yeah, everybody got their up and down in business. But to see how far he has been able to come with all the gallops and all the potholes on his way is just tremendous. So I wanted to share with us the process of how you are able to change the real estate game to become a multiple real estate owner in less than 7 years. Because before, most of us, when we are hearing somebody's big real estate, it has to be somebody gave one big money somewhere, either as a father or stole money from somewhere, or somebody gave him money. But I know how you started, and I can tell the story, but I'm going to let you tell it yourself, how you are able to change the game so that others who are thinking something is beyond them, they can be inspired to say, if Stephen Akintayo can do it, starting from zero, I also myself can do it. Can you walk us through the process for as much of the one that you can disclose, because it's your trade secret, you can't share everything, but enough that young man, that young lady looking at us right now, or who's going to be watching the recorded version of this, can watch and be inspired that whatever industry I want to take, I can take it. Walk us through the process, sir.
Well, thank you again. These are good questions. Honestly, I think one of the biggest secret was courage and exposure. So you may not know this. Even before I got big in tech, one of the businesses I had done was real estate brokerage. I used to sell for a lot of real estate companies in Nigeria. And that gave me a lot of opportunity to kind of see the background. I remember one of the early people I used to sell for would go inside bush and and we would talk. And I remember some of those properties I even sold. Even me, the seller, no believe in them because I felt they were too far. I felt there were a lot that I just felt no, I couldn't do this. But over time, I saw how those companies, those estates developed. They became so big. I saw how some of those early CEOs were doing so well. So by 2015, it was the first time we did business in hundreds of millions in the bulk SMS, and I got my chance. I knew this was the opportunity to key in. So I would say exposure. Number two is also courage, because there are few lands that we've bought that we've not had either, the thugs and Omonile attackers or rituals, them dropping a ball on the land, and we have to go and remove them. So it took courage.
They put a ball on the land.
Amoye.
See why I don't want to do this thing. Me, I will just take off. Well, continue.
So, we had one. In fact, we bought it from the king of that place. My staff had started doing fence work. Women came naked, protesting on the land. When they saw that, old women, it wasn't old. When they saw that my staff didn't leave, the next day they went to put, airborne. All of them ran until we went to remove it. So it took courage, and that's a lot of time when I see some clients who don't appreciate what we go through. We as the developers, I'm like, come on, you don't know what you are paying for one plot or two plots or whatever, cannot even near the risk we took. What we had to go through to be where we are today. But courage is ultimately a key factor, and it's the way life is. I mean, if you're going to be successful, you must have that guts. You must, and I have seen all these successful people. It's just the guts. I mean, sometimes I look at Donald Trump and I'll be like, this guy won't come out of this one. One of it is the document found in his house, how FBI broke into his house. And now hearing that they saw 2 documents of Joe Biden, I'm just like, oh no. This guy is out again, because obviously, how are you going to? There's no way you hold him accountable, you hold Joe Biden accountable. That was even twice. So my argument is that great people in politics, particular politics, they're not smart. When you meet a lot of these politicians, you realize they're not smarter than you and I. They're just more courageous. The guts that these guys have is the secret. You, with your grandma, they'll be looking at you and shaking their head. At the end of the day, they take the power, you come and become their boss. And the same thing in business. The guts to come into Dubai, you don't know anybody, and open your office and start doing business. And before you know, you are doing millions of dollars in transactions. It's guts, but also you could have lost everything as well.
Interesting. So guts primarily, and I think I resonate with that. It is like they said, the money is in the mouth of the lion. So
yeah.
You got to take it. You got to go in there. You die. So all die and die. So you have to have courage, and it makes 100%. Yes. Real estate, I know I don't have that courage, so that's why I'm not doing it. Because if they show me one small level like this, I may not go to that street again for the rest of my life. But other places, I have my own guts. So whatever you choose, I think the lesson we are learning from that is that whatever you choose to be in life, you have to have the courage to survive in that terrain, because there's no terrain that is easy. There's no terrain that is risk-free. Even in church, We have heard of pastors who do juju self inside church against each other. So anywhere you go, you must have the courage, the determination to succeed. Thank you so much for sharing that. Let me segue to something a little bit different. See, your wife, you know how much I love her. That's also another of my daughters out there. Okay, so I remember when your wife first started. I remember how she used to panic when we want to say, go and do this on Facebook Live. And then right before my eyes also, she blossomed. Not only did she blossom as a wife, she blossomed as a business person to where she has her own businesses. And when I came to your office, I saw that she has a whole floor to herself for her Guinedo business, which is like a kind of a Amazon type of thing. Hopefully you can send me the link. I want to tell people to go to that Guinedo and check it out, because Nigerians don't have it. We don't celebrate our own. When I saw what that lady has done, virtually no other support outside other than from my husband, to be able to create something like a Conga or Amazon and doing it little by little to where it has gone. We should be giving awards to her. But my question here is that typically, and this Hotseat thing is to encourage, give people advice, tell them about our own mistakes so that they can also learn and let them know what we do to manage what we do. Your wife has all of a sudden also become very successful in her own right. Even though initially you are the one propping her, you are the one dropping the money, you are the one even forcing her in, but now maybe she's the one even forcing you. I don't know, it's more aggressive now. So how have you guys been able to manage it? Because I could see that you guys have a great marriage, you have great children, you travel all the time, you have fun all the time. How have you been able to manage your marriage with an equally successful and aggressive business person? Because a lot of men can't deal with it, a lot of marriages can't handle it, but somehow you have been able to handle it and thrive. You want to share with us some of your secrets so that some of us who are having some challenges with equally enterprising, I think that is the word I really need to use, not necessarily aggressive, enterprising, but me, I like aggressive. Aggressive means I'm going to take it if we don't take time. So, but let's use enterprising business person. That's probably a more gentle thing. Everything's not aggressive. Okay, go ahead. Share with us.
Well, for me, I think what has helped in a great way has been ability to, and I think it's been very tremendous. It's been the ability to, I call it compensate, right? Because I've always had to say this big time that, when sometimes people say balancing, I really don't believe that word is realistic. But what I do is compensate. I've always had to travel, do a lot. But again, my wife and kids, we did Christmas, New Year together here in Dubai. 100% dedicated time to them, went to, have fun, watch movie. So whatever period I've been missing, over 2 weeks dedicated 100% to them and to their joy, to their fun. So for me, I had to compensate. And I think that is one key thing. But I was also privileged to have a very, we call it long-suffering wife, who, it's just so wise that she's many years ahead of her real age and was able to manage me and manage my personality, my temperament. I'm just privileged in that regard, and I give a lot of credit to my wife, a lot.
Interesting. I love that. Basically, you compensate, because when we are out there hustling and doing all our thing, somebody's paying the price at home to make sure we're fed, to make sure the children are taken care of. And sometimes men, when they get successful, they forget about that, or while they're trying to be successful, they forget to compensate their wife for all that pain, all that support as they go, and then everything falls apart. So if you're out there, I think it's a very big, very, very big why. Bibi, I see you, one of my old friends. I just saw her flash into the conversation now. Good to see you on the call. Bibi Omololu, it's been a while. All right, so we are here right now talking with Dr. Stephen Akintayo and sharing some secrets of success with him. I remember telling people, and my wife knows that there's nothing my wife will ask me if I have it that I can't give her. In fact, if I don't have it, I won't be able to sleep until I get it for her. And thank God I've got a very reasonable wife. She will not ask me, she will not even say it in my presence what she needs. Knowing that if she says it in my presence, even if she didn't ask me, I will have to go out there, hustle, and kill myself to get it for her. Sometimes she has a need, and people are saying, why don't you tell your husband? She said, no, I know I can't afford this now. If I say it before the boy go and kill himself over my head. So she doesn't bring it. So when she opens her mouth, I say, I want something. She knows I won't rest until I give her. Or like 3 days ago, for instance, she was asking for something for the first time in like maybe 30 years. I said, I don't think I'm going to be able to give you that. She looked at me and walked away. The next day, nobody sent me work. I had to go look for the money and give her. So, but it's all saying this. It's all part of what Stephen just said. Compensating your wife. I'm a very scatterhead guy. I do crazy stuff. I just go. I do all sorts of drama. And my wife had to deal with it. The ones that work, the ones that didn't work, especially the ones that didn't work, they are the ones that suffer the most. When it works, most of us don't remember them. But I learned that a long time ago from Musiba Sonny, by the way, who's my own mentor. He said, whatever you do, understand that when you're out there late at night hustling, when you're traveling to go and do all this stuff that you do to try to make money, somebody is at home that is supposed to be having you. When you're coming back, buy a present. Whatever they want, you give them. He's the one that taught me that. He said, when you give your wife allowance to buy fish, and you go out on the streets, and you see fish yourself, that's why I have given her money for that fish. Buy fish again and carry it to her in the house. Because they are the ones, ultimately, when things are good, when things are bad, they're the only ones you can rely on. And nothing is truer than that. In my down days, my wife is the only one that I know will stand by me. She will come and we'll talk and all of that. So compensating is very, very, very important. When you make that money, you are not the one that made it by yourself. Even if your wife is not involved. My wife has never done business with me. But when I filed bankruptcy in 2003, she had to file bankruptcy with me. She does her own work because everything I do, I put her name. Now, I use her credits to be doing stuff. When the thing didn't work, and I had to declare official bankruptcy, 2003, you see me, I'm not afraid to share my own good, the bad, and the ugly. You know, I had to put her name there because her name is not a document, but she never one day complained. For that, I can never, ever forget. I just said, well, this bankruptcy, she looked at me funny, but she followed me. So she sat down there as the bankruptcy judge was washing me down. The bankruptcy judge was saying, for last year, you made $3.8 million. Why are you in bankruptcy today? I started to stammer. So the man started on me. 2001, my business did $3.8 million. By 2003, 1.5 years later, I was in bankruptcy court. I will tell that story. So it's like, what happened? Then she went into me. You know, when she found out I had 4 cars, say so you've come from Africa to come here, you think that America is anyhow. Blah, 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 blah. This is how my wife was looking. And I felt broken to the bone. She didn't say anything. And when we left there, you know, some other wives will be nagging you. Say, it's you that took me to this for that woman to be talking to me. She didn't say, just okay, so what do you want to do now? So, I never forget that day. She just said, when we left the court, I said, okay, so what do you want to do? Okay, so everything's down. So what do you want to do now? Then I yelled at her, that just leave me alone. You know, don't leave me alone. My point is that we should learn to, and anything I tell you guys on here, I'm not capping. I just said exactly the way it is. Anybody who knows me knows that that's how I am. Even my wife, if she's watching, her, say this useless man, he's telling me it's in public. Listen, if you're out there, for me, no marriage is perfect. I mean, I've come close to getting divorced several times myself, so I'm not going to give you the impression, that I'm a perfect husband. No, I'm not. I don't have a perfect marriage. But one thing that we've got going for her, or that I've got going for me, that will make my wife forgive me some of the nastiest things, and this is what I've done. She knows that Ope will always compensate her. And compensation is not always money. It's taking care of their needs. Being sensitive to what is important to them.
Very true.
Okay? And once you are doing that, trust me, your wife will forgive you anything. They feel that they are part of the game. My wife doesn't demand much. She doesn't wear jewelry. Or at least when she wears, she buys herself. She's never asked me for money for jewelry before. But she loves to change things in the house. She can just come and say, this does, it's been 2 years now. I should just change the whole thing. I'll write the check. If she asks me, I write it. Why? Because that's what makes her happy. She's not like into let's go vacation. So if you're out there, find out what pleases your wife. Compensate them. And then maybe you will have, it's still a maybe, even with all of that, it's only going to help all of us. But if you don't compensate your wife, you are done. When they come for you, your wife is the one that will open the door. Do you understand? You made money, you're not taking care of her. The day they come for you, it's your wife that will say, but if you are taking care of her, she will die for you. All right, that's a great share, Dr. Stephen. I appreciate that. All right, let's go back to business a little bit. Now, let's make it more specific. Okay, you have been in business. You have now. Let me put up the question before I ask it. I want to talk more about the failure part, because when everybody sees you or sees people like me, they assume that the day we were born, we are very successful. Yeah, that everything we touch was gold. But we know better, okay? That there'll be some ideas you will try, it will not work. There are some things that you will do that will fail. From hindsight of experience and from your own perspective, I know I could write in fact, I just wrote a whole book on this, by the way, that I'm going to be launching end of the month. It's called The Confessions of a Business Lazarus. All right? True life stories from a man who has failed many times in business. What I did, I took all my business failures and I'm turning it into a book with lessons I learned from each of them. But as I writing this book, I found out that I had too many business failures. So this is not a good thing. But it's too late. I shared maybe 20 of them. Okay. But from the perspective of Dr. Stephen, you are still relatively young. You are a baby in this game. All right. So I don't even know if you have had any failure before, Seth. The way I look at you, it looks like everything is success. But anyway, what are your top 3 secrets or understanding from experience for why people fail in business? We're coming to the success later, but I want us to highlight this. Why do people fail in business? Top 3 in your own perspective and from experience.
Well, it's important to say, I mean, because sometimes we have these conversations. I don't want people to get it confusing. Relative to a man like Dr. Ope that has had 30-something years in business. That's why he's saying I've put in 15 years I've put into this. So if you are watching this, don't get it twisted. Whatever he says, you are, because I've also realized that a lot of people build that culture of being impatient, right? 15 years is no joke. To continue to do something, it's absolutely no joke. So please, this thing will still take time, no matter the speed, you are hearing tonight or somebody's, it will still take time. Now, as to the question, what are the top 3 secrets to why people fail in business? I've failed in about almost 20 businesses before I started doing well. And that's why many of you didn't get to know me until some of you maybe 3 years ago started hearing of me. Some of you maybe 4 years ago. Some of you, it was even this year. Okay. And the reason you've not heard that much of me before now was also because it wasn't that easy. But number 1, I will say, is because people don't get the knowledge of a business or an investment before investing. So it's in fact, what they do is you hear about this business, Dr. Ope taught me this business, just put your money. And what then happens is by the time you fail, that's when you are now actually getting the knowledge. Unfortunately, the capital has been finished. So you are not able to start all over again. So I always advise, get the knowledge of a business before actually doing the business. Get the knowledge of an investment before actually going into that investment. Is how to prevent failure. Number 2 is consistently, keep moving. Hate your last success. I mean, you know, tear every year. Every year I do that. I tear my previous records and I set a new one. I have a goal this year now. I don't know whether I'm going to achieve it or not, but I've set a target. I want to do $1 billion in sales. $1 billion in sales is not $1 billion in profit, but I always focus on maybe a few years later I'll focus on profit. But for now, it's about big volume, big transactions. And but that's how I do it. I tear the previous record, I set a new one. A lot of us get, you know, comfortable because you are our staff, people start singing our praises. You know, I mean, in Nigeria, some people will start calling me names, and I'll be like, Egbe mi ni Mark Zuckerberg, for Christ's sake. I don't know why you guys talk as if I've achieved
Exactly.
something. As if I've achieved something, right? You know, Mark Zuckerberg is top 10 richest people in the world. We are practical age mates. So it's because in Africa, even when people say I'm young, it's because in Africa, before you become wealthy, you must have turned 50 to 60 or to 70. So when people see you in your late 30s doing well, it looks as if you've done something special. But in developed world, it's just so normal. There's no big deal to it. So don't let sycophants, right? People want to sing your praises, make you to feel you have arrived. You have just started. As far as I'm concerned, we are about to start. In relation to where we are going, we're doing 200 estates, 25,000 green and smart home by the year 2035. I need $20 billion to achieve that. I don't even have $1 billion yet. So we've not even, this is a big time game. And before we even hit 2035, I'm setting another 100-year vision that, you know, the next CEO and my children have to, you know, take over that. So for me, it has to be big. Number three, always get mentors and keep understanding that very different phases, the mentor may change, you know, but always respect those who helped you at the beginning, right? So a time came, for example, I realized that the people that had been like mentors for me in Nigeria were no longer, you know, they couldn't relate to the kind of problem I was facing because my business had really grown, you know, way bigger than what it used to be. So I had to start reaching out to people like Cosmos Maduka, who were worth billions of dollars, reach out to Grant Cardone, because again, there's a dimension to the challenges I'm now facing, right? For example, I never believed in my life you could be doing billions in naira in transactions and yet have liquidity problem. You know,
Yes, now.
these are not things they teach you when you are starting business. I mean, you just have this vision. Once I start doing this volume of transaction, my problem is solved. But unfortunately, it's now we're now getting to know that, oh no, when you even get big, that's when you need to have like 120 billion sitting in the account, you know, that can constantly run. I mean, you now start hearing stories of IBM, Microsoft, how Apple, how they have, you know, I mean, Warren Buffett's company has $200 billion dollars in liquidity just sitting there. For any investor that will say I need my money back, for any recession that will happen, for I mean just sitting, doing nothing in case of trouble. So you're like, oh boy, we never knew this. So always have mentors. You must have mentors who are way bigger than you. I say this, and this is very powerful, that the step of a giant is a marathon for a dwarf. You must have giant mentors that will make that their own step will be a marathon for you, that will encourage you to run faster. You know, when they break things down. I mean, each time I sit down with someone like Dr. Cosmos Maduka, the so-called big vision I have becomes small. Because when you see someone, you know, in his 60s break down what they're doing, the next step, they just open Japan office. Yeah, Japan. Like an Igbo man
I'm suspecting you of going to Tokyo now. I'm watching you now. Next thing I'm going to hear, yeah, this is Akintayo coming live at you from Tokyo. Okay, go for it. Go for it.
I mean, when the man told me, Dr. Ope, that he lost, $200 million to Isaiah Duba, I'm like,
and the man is standing. That is power, bro. That's power.
And people now talked about how he forgave the man. One day he went to the man's house and said, they say you are using charm, where I bring your food, and ate. After the man carried $200 million, if that Dr. Ope, that bazooka is going to use, because
oh, Misan, we don't give up. Don't try to give up now. This is a fight, but no.
The bazooka, bomb. You have to fly bomb, yeah.
From everywhere.
I have to, like, what kind of a heart can somebody have? But you need to have people like that in your life. You need to. All this your problem. They will talk when they break down. One of my staff stole something or did this. When they now break down, you better be like, come on, it's even insulting that you are talking. People are talking.
People are talking. You are talking.
People are talking problem. You too, you say you have problem. That's why get back to work. You need those kind of mentors in your life. If you don't have it, the small thing you are doing will be so overwhelming, and you will just think you are doing one big thing. Meanwhile, bros, there are a lot of people doing way, way bigger stuff.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. I hope you guys are making notes. The whole idea of the conversations with game changers is so that they can share from that perspective, and also we can all learn and grow with it. Right now, we are with Dr. Stephen Akintayo, the founder CEO of the GTEX group of companies with footprints in Dubai, all over Nigeria. Des Moines, Iowa. Are you in Des Moines now? Because last time I saw one advert there, I said, that's TV in Des Moines, Iowa. Next door to me, with footprints in London, in Europe and all that, and he's been sharing some of his life experiences with us. Right now, we are talking about this, having a conversation about this topic. What are your top 3 secrets for why people fail in business? For me, typically, when I take these questions, I try not to talk about what you can just Google and see out there, because the truth is, most of what people write about is really not what is affecting a lot of people. For me, from my own perspective, I think the number one reason people fail in business is too much optimism. You know, every one of us, when we have a business idea, we get very excited. We believe, we rush. We don't even make ourselves stop to consider what if this thing fails. And then we even have the Mike Muddocks of this world, who, by the way, is also my long distance mentor. I can never shake Dr. Mike Muddock. Most of what I learned from that man as far as business is concerned. But it will tell you, one of the stars say, what will you do if it is impossible for you to fail? And a lot of mentors say that. And I say that is where they put you in the wrong mindset. That's a wrong question. That's a deceptive question. What will you do if it is impossible for you to fail? You're already putting in their mind that there's anything like impossible to fail. No. In fact, you have a 70% chance of failing. Anybody telling you it's impossible to fail is lying to you. A lot of people they never stop to consider what if it doesn't work. Because if you do that, then you can do a lot more research. Then you can be a lot more prepared mentally. Because a lot of people, because they have never been conditioned to even imagine that it is possible that this business will fail. So when they go in there, maybe their pastor has prayed for them, they've seen a vision, a lot of stuff has been working for them. When that negative hits them, they can't deal with it because they've never permitted themselves to think. I tell my children that now. That whatever you are going to do, you better put it at the back of your mind that you may fail. So if it fails, what are you going to do? That's always my question and then it gives me an idea. I ask you want to start this business? I say, okay, what if you did everything you can? You prayed, you fasted, you put your money, you put your energy, you did everything you can, and this thing didn't work. What are you going to do now? Then what you're going to hear many of them say is, it's not possible. With this, because they are refusing to think ahead to possibility of failure. And I think that when you think that ahead before you start, it's not going to discourage you, but what it will do is it will encourage you when it comes. So that way, you know that it's not, some people fail in business and they can never do another one again in their life. Why? They never consider that it's possible to fail. So when they fail, they're in shock. They're in shock of their life and they can't get out of it. But me now, I've mastered failure. When I'm starting, I know that it's possible to fail. I will still try everything like that means, then I have to do more research. I have to get ready better. I have to look at possible points of failure. So that way, I'm already gathering, covering areas that will make it difficult for me to then fail. But if you go in there with too much optimism, what happens is that when that optimism wears off, reality dawns on you because you've never thought about reality before you went into it, then you are done. That's number one for me. Number two, I think also has to do with lack of a clear plan. It is one thing to say, I want to make 100 million this year. How? Ask anybody that they can't answer that question. Whether those who are agitating for separation knew, whether those who want to win elections knew, whether those who want to start a business knew, when you ask them, okay, it's a great idea, you want to make 100 million a year. How? They start to stammer because they've never thought about it. So February has come. They've only made 200,000. And yet, they're still believing God, quote and unquote, that they're going to make 100 million that year. They make prayer their action plan. They make prayer their plan of action. Yet, if you want to make 100 million a year, if you start to think about it, that means you are saying you want to make about 10 million a month. That means then you divide that 10 million by 30 days. That means you are telling yourself you are going to make 3.3 million, 333,000 a day. How much did you make yesterday? Now, if you were planning to make 10 million this month, and today is already 13th, and you have only made 10,000 naira, something already tells you you're already failing. You have to have a plan. Most don't have detailed plan of action to get to where they need to be. And that is what God wants to bless. God doesn't just want to bless your imagination, but He wants to bless the work of your hands, your hustle. So most people that I know that failed in business, they don't have a practical plan of action of how they want to get there. All they know is where they want to go, and that's okay. I mean, if you can find your way there, you don't need God. I get that. But you at least have to have a plan. A bad plan is better than no plan at all. I started this year with my team and I told them I want to get back by December 2023. I want to get back to this level of income per month. It will take me 3 months to start getting back, to start working it, but this is what I want. So they are now surprised. For the last 10 days now, we meet every day. I had to break it down. How much do I want to make per month? How am I going to make it? You're not just going to say, I want to make $50,000 a month or 10,000, 100,000, and then you don't have a plan. Even with a plan, there is no guarantee. How much more if you don't even have a plan? So for me, most people fail because they don't have a clear plan to reach where they need to be. I'm talking about reaching down, not in their head. They'll tell you, I have it written down. No. I have it in my head. You can't have it in your head. You got to write it down. Be looking at it. Reality will start dawning on you. Hey, I want to make 100 million. You think 100 million is easy. Take out 2 months for vacation for whatever. So 10 months. That's 10 million a month. 10 million a month divided by 30 is 333,000 naira a day. All of a sudden, you have to ask, how am I going to do that? Then maybe you need to adjust your vision. But most don't do that. And of course, the final priority, number one, in my own opinion, is that most do not have a big why. We talked about that earlier. I think that's the number one point why people fail in business. They go into business because, they say, Stephen Akintayo is in real estate. Let me to go to real estate. Or, I just want to be rich. It's nice, this man from 7 years ago, like some of you watching us now. Wow, Stephen Akintayo is now a billionaire. I need to go become a billionaire. Why do you want to be a billionaire? Why do you want to even be a millionaire? That big why is number one of all of them. But most never stop to ask themselves or to dig deep and find the big why. Because if you don't have a big why, when you run into the first bump, you're going to jump to something else. You're going to give up because it's easy to give up when things are hard. And in business, I don't care how good you are. I don't care how great your idea is. I don't care what vision God gave you. There will be problem. In this world, you will have tribulations. But if you have a big why, you'll be able to overcome it. Even Jesus Christ himself ran into serious wahala when he saw the cross, that these people, they go kill me like this, so they will hang me. It was clear to him that these people, wahala is coming. He went into the garden. That's God, Jesus in person. He said, Baba, all right. They said he prayed, and his sweat was like blood for God to take away that stuff from him. And God said, you're on your own. This cross, you are going, you are, no. But finally, he said, not your will, not my will, but your will. He had a big why he came. That big why sustained him on the cross. That's why he didn't come down from the cross. He had a big why for coming to save mankind. If God can have a big why for coming to earth, what about you? What's your big why? The reason why you don't want to get up in the morning is you don't have a big why. The reason why when that first move that you made didn't sell, maybe you launched that software, launched a book, nobody bought. The reason why you gave up and went back to your life of going to go work in Walmart is because you never had a big why in the first place. It's not because of anything else. If you had a big why, you're not going to stop. Because that your why is looking at you in the face when you wake up in the morning. For me, my early years, like I said, seriously, my big why is I want to get the girl. I don't want somebody to take my girl. It was humiliating. It was embarrassing for somebody to come and take the girl that I already toasted. It sounds small to some of you. You think I'm joking. I'm not joking. But I was young then. I was in my early 20s. And I felt it was the height of it. So even though right now, it won't matter anything. If somebody will take my wife now, I'll just laugh. They are helping me. How much can I do? At 58, how much can I do now? I'll just say thank you. Just return her 3 days from now. But that time, it was like the world was going to end. Some guy took the girlfriend that I'm trying to toast. And he helped me for the first 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. When I started achieving, I got another why. When I filed bankruptcy in 2003, after making millions in 2001, and I've had to go officially to bankruptcy court, I just didn't want to have that feeling again. That is why you don't see me now. I don't go into businesses that if it fails, I lose everything. I never wanted to have that feeling the way I had it in 2003 again in my life. It was the most humiliating, embarrassing, and my wife was sitting there right next to me. The person that I really wanted to be the one that valued me the most in the world that time was sitting next to me. The judge talked to me like I was a gutter African boy who came in, saw money, and just did it anyhow. That I was the most useless human being. She talked to me like an idiot. And she has a right to do that. Because if you squander $3.8 million in 2 years, you decide whatever anybody calls you. I remember that feeling. And that became my big why. Till today, I don't want to go back there. Any business I put head, I'm putting it with the understanding that if it doesn't work, it doesn't ruin my life. Okay? I don't go all in that I would do in 30 years ago or I would do in 20 years ago. Why? Because that's my big why now. I just want to be okay. I don't want to end up in bankruptcy court. So don't bring those multi-billion-dollar business to me. I don't do. If it involves me having to mortgage my houses and mortgage my life to do it, I don't want. That is my big why. My big why to be in a situation where I can go anywhere I want to go. I can travel anytime I want. I don't have to be a millionaire. But if I need to go to Nigeria to take a plane, I can do it. If I need to go to Iowa to go have a vacation for 2 days, I can do it. And I know for me to do that, I have to have a level of income. There is no sentiment about that. What is your big why? Because if you don't have it, you are setting up yourself for failure. Because it's coming. Pain is coming. No, you can't pray against that. Jesus himself said, forget, in this world, you will have tribulation. Not maybe. But what will keep you is your big why. Most people don't have a big why. When they run into their first waters, is over. That's, to me, is the top reason people fail in business. So if you haven't gotten your why, join me tomorrow, Saturday, on Gist House. Yes, that's a shameless plug right there. You need to come into Gist House. You need to download the app. You need to come and tell me about your big why. Let me teach you about how to find your big why. Because once you find that, you become unstoppable. I'm not a big network marketer. I saw that my friend there. But I remember when I started network marketing, I had a big why. Because I want to meet the owner of the place, the owner of the company, Skinny Body Care then. I said, listen, I will work for you for 2 years. And I will do this, I will do that, I made promises. I will open up Africa, at least 5 to 10 countries in Africa for you. But you have to agree with me. 2 years after that, when I want to start my own, you will help me to start it as a competitor to your company. And we signed. Gentleman agreement. So my big why for those 2 years was I need to start my own in 2 years and I need to deliver to this guy. So it doesn't matter what happened. Even when I wasn't making as much as I was spending, I was still doing it. I went to Kenya, I went to South Africa, I went to Cameroon, opened up offices because I had a big why. Why am I killing myself on Gist House? I had a big why. I want to be the first guy to have a successful audio app in Africa because it was a new industry. There's Clubhouse, there's Twitter Spaces, there's Spotify Green Room. There's none started by an African for the African market. Though we do have the Wisdom that started a couple of months before me, but Wisdom is not focused on Nigeria or Africa. That's my big why. I didn't make any money on Gist House. I have not made any money yet. It's been over a year. I spend money every month, tens of thousands of dollars. But I'm still there. You know why? Because I was determined to have the first successful app there. What is your big why? Without a big why, you are fucked. Excuse my language. You are screwed. I forgot that I'm on air here. You need to reach down. Don't stop rushing this year. Don't start rushing this year to start any businesses. Don't just jump in there. Ask yourself, why am I doing this thing that I want to do? If that reason is not big enough, don't do it. Because you're going to fail. When the rain comes and you don't have that big why to make you get up in the morning and go out. I'm going to end it with yes, it's sounding like lecture now. It is a lecture. Get it? Because that's what I do. They call me the coach for a reason. Now I'm coaching. All right? Listen to me. Towards the end of last year, I just realized I saw a few of my friends. Some of them have stroke. Some of them are in the hospital. Some have major health issues. All of a sudden, it dawned on me that I'm 58. I'm in that zone now. I also have high blood pressure and I have high cholesterol. Again, I told you I don't have secrets. So it's going to be hard for you to blackmail me. You can't say you want to show people Dr. Ope's medical record. I'm announcing it by myself. So I high blood pressure, high cholesterol. And I saw some of my colleagues drop dead right there before end of last year. I saw some of them have stroke. They're in the hospital. And it occurred to me, I better get my shit together in this health thing or I'm dying here. And I made up my mind. I woke up, 2023 met me with 203 pounds. And I told myself, we die here. By end of this year, I must bring this weight down. If not up to 180, at least 190. Get rid of 13 pounds or 20 pounds. To do that, again, like I said, for you to succeed, it's not by mouth. That means I have to go to the gym every day. I have to get a personal trainer. I have to watch my diet. I'm a dodo and rice fanatic, by the way. I eat it 3 times a day. I know I have to give up dodo, and I haven't eaten dodo this year. It's only 12 days, I get it. But I have a big why. I don't want to end up in hospital. Only God gives health. I may see do all of this, and bad things may see happen, don't get me wrong. But you do your own part. I stopped eating dodo because I don't want to die. Or rather, I don't want to end up in hospital, not to die. I don't have a problem with dying, but I have a problem with being a liability to my family. I don't want to suffer a stroke if I can help it. And if I'm going to reduce my weight, there's some things I have to do. That's my big why. So when I woke up in the morning 3 days ago, I had pain in my leg. After having gone to the gym 11 days in a row. I haven't done that in 10 years. Or ever even. I told myself, you don't go, you know, blood pressure, cholesterol, bobo, bera, I had to leave. So what is your... Yes, they say I have to stop eating rice. They've told me that one too. I've reduced the rice small. But now God is still helping me. Pastor Stephen will pray for me at the end of this presentation. I need help for that one. Major deliverance. But I overemphasize this to some of you, like, oh, it's taking time. That is the number one thing for you guys. If you want to be like Stephen Akintayo, you got to have a big why. Stephen has a very big why. That's why he keeps building. That's why he keeps tooling. That's why he keeps taking risks. That's why he wakes up in the morning and he's doing. He told you. What is yours? Particularly young guys. You just want to be, why do you want to be rich? Come, let's talk about it tomorrow, because for me, this year should be your biggest one yet. What used to stop you will no longer stop you this year. And it starts with mastering failure. Have a big why. All right, Stephen. I had to throw that one in there as a lecturer. All right. Now people, they know that you are big business guys. Okay, we're going to come to success secrets in a second. But right now, me, I want tips. So, because the way you are growing and make all this money, I don't retire. What are your 3 top hottest businesses right now? For anyone with that money, we're going to talk about the one with money. But for right now, for those guys out there who don't have a lot of money to spend, and you know we all started from somewhere. We are like many of them right now. Don't say, oh, I don't care about poor people. There are people out there who want to be like Stephen Akintayo eventually, but they don't really have much money now. What will you recommend as top 3 hottest businesses right now for them to start, for anybody who doesn't have much money? Now, I put a caveat before he speaks. We are not giving financial advice. We are not giving business advice. You're on your own. This is us just having a conversation. I'm trying to get my brother, my friend, my protege, my oga, everything to share with me. Oh yeah, Stephen, what are your top 3 hottest businesses right now for anyone without much money? Go.
Well, number 1 will be brokerage. I think it's very, very powerful to know that, and that's how I started as well. When you don't have money, can you be the middleman? Link the buyer and the seller together. Even right now, as much as we manage over 100 properties here in Dubai. We also are still a brokerage firm in Dubai, US, and UK, trying to, or agent, in other words, you call it, be a middleman between the buyer and the seller. And that's how I started in Nigeria as well. You can always grow from being an agent, a property agent, or broker or agent in anything, to becoming an owner over time. So hence, master the art of selling. There are books to read. There's, all this I don't like selling. Everyone can learn and can build capacity to sell. Very, very important business model. It's helped me to be where I am today, and I would never joke with it. And I encourage you to do the same. Number 2 is master the business of your talent. You have a gift. You have a skill. You can talk. You can write. I've written 37 books. I'm launching another 3 books on my birthday, 28th of January this year. 3 more books, making it 40. So every day I earn from my books. I have an online university, $247 a month to be a member, right? It's consistently generating income. So what is your talent? What's your gift? How can you turn your story? How can you turn it to a source of income, to something that generates? This won't take. All my books are published on Amazon. If you buy my book today, I'll go ahead and buy from Amazon, then sign it, then send it back to you. So I don't spend millions printing books and then waiting for who will buy. There are always the people have ordered. So there are ways, again, please note, your problem is quality knowledge, right? Many of us haven't value knowledge. We don't prioritize it. And I beg you this year, if you really want to go far, prioritize knowledge, prioritize information. Very important. Number 3, out of what is not enough, save, and what you have saved, start investing. They are now what we call fractional shares, fractional real estate investment, which means that you can buy a share of Apple, a fraction of Apple share for $50, right? A fraction of Tesla share for $20. You can own a property for as low as $1,000, a fraction of it, and get returns as the property, grows. So that would be my number 3. Become an investor this year. Money will never be enough. You will never have enough money. But you see, building the courage. I mean, I didn't have enough when I started real estate either. But it's the courage. If it means, can I pay gradually? Can I get a fraction? Most of the properties I bought, we pay small. Gradual. In fact, there's a point when we started that they will not even allow you put signage until you have paid to a level, right? And I had so many people harass me. I want my money back. You don't even have signage on your land. Today, not only do we have signage, we have houses on it. So, life is in phases. Men are in sizes, live your size part time. But if I didn't start at that level of, okay, let's pay small, I won't even own one house, talk less of owning estates. So start somewhere, and God bless you.
All right. Yes, I'm not going to offer any businesses. I just want to take Stephen Akintayo 2 more questions, and I'm going to take him exclusive inside of Gist House, because that's where I'm going to let you guys ask him questions. Now that I've grabbed him, tomorrow he might be in Japan. Let me use him. Let me take everything I can take today. He can't run.
But it's already 12 a.m. here in Dubai.
I don't care. Even if it's 2 a.m., you are not sleeping. They don't take less. They don't take less.
I have early morning, doctor.
I don't care. I do not care. We are going to take
early morning.
Okay,
you just see that I've disappeared.
Okay, at least until you disappear, you are here. All right, we'll take 2 more questions here, and then I want people to be able to ask you questions inside of Gist House. There's so many. There's over 60 people there right now waiting for you. So what we do is we ask 2 more questions. I try not to add my own, and then we go inside Gist House, and then you can then take a few questions. Then we let you go. All right. So my next question here is about Nigeria. My second to last question, right? I said 2 more. Okay. So what are your biggest challenges and experiences in doing business in Nigeria, and how to survive in a chaotic environment? Because sometimes Nigerian environment can become chaotic, even though it's a great opportunity country. We all love our country. But this is mostly for the benefit of those who might be watching you from Nigeria, or those who are abroad, who are thinking of coming to do business in Nigeria. Can you share some of your biggest challenges, maybe 1 or 2, and then share 1 or 2 strategies to survive in a chaotic environment if they find themselves in one? Thank you.
Beautiful question. My advice is that if you're going to do business in Nigeria, number 1, you need to be flexible, right? There's no, unlike many countries where there are simple, straightforward rules, Nigeria requires that you are flexible. You have to be dynamic. If you're going to go far in Nigeria, because it keeps changing. It keeps changing. It keeps changing. Number 2 will be that you have to think global. And I think this is one of the biggest problems of a lot of us from Nigeria. We think local, and at some point it's as if the thing has eaten us up, right? Because, life is like a curve. So if you don't find a way to expand the curve for the curve to keep going higher, you will come down. So think global. The biggest thing I did was going global. And I think many of us have to evolve, because one of the challenge of thinking global is actually, and this is very real, is actually the normal nepotic culture of Africans. We as Africans, we are quite nepotic by design. My brother, my cousin, my in-law is from my place. I'll give you an example. I wanted to get a tennis coach, because here in Burj Khalifa, tennis is the only outdoor game. I wanted to get a gym coach, and I wanted to get a golf coach, right? So we could play golf. And I clearly stated, somebody from outside my culture, because I'm trying to learn. There are over 200 nationalities here in Dubai. And before you know it, only Nigerians were applying. If I say I had to pick a tennis coach that is a Nigerian, then the other Lebanese. But here is where the problem is. This year, for example, in Dubai, they banned Nigerians from coming to Dubai. So if my Dubai business had actually been based on just Nigerians, that business is over, right? But because we have people from different nationalities, right? In Nigeria, we're only 3 of us from Nigeria in my Dubai office, and we're over 40 staff, right? So Nigerians are even minority here in Dubai, and that means that they can then bring people from their own country to do business with us, and that is helping us to stay afloat. So you have to think global. You have to think outside. Nigeria is not the only place. Once there's technology, once there's internet, there's a phone, your business can go global. You can sell to people all over the world. Dr. Ope was one of the people that told me this years ago. You know, that look, stop thinking local. I never believed what I was doing is needed globally. And he told me that you are overthinking it. It's a no-brainer. You can start running trainings in different cities of the world. And I tried and it worked. My first training in Dubai, I came to Dubai knowing nobody, paid for the hall, nobody showed up. True story. Nobody showed up. And it was a tour from Dubai to US. When I got to US, I said, you know what? They don't know me, that's why they didn't show up. I will start doing Facebook Live. Right? And what I will have taught physically, I will teach them on Facebook. Right there, before I left US, someone was shouting, I'm in Dubai, come to Dubai, I will do your visa, I will do your... By the next time I was coming to Dubai, I was in a church of over 200 people preaching. The same me that just a few weeks back, right? No, I rented the hall and nobody was there. So think global. You can always go global with your business. And lastly, get professionals, both as staff as well as consultants. People will tell you that, oh, don't treat your staff well. Don't give them this. Don't give them. 2 years ago, over 50 of my staff went to Dubai and Maldives, all expense paid trip, right? We've had to create a structure that if you bring a client to GTES, 10% of the money, not profit, 10% of the entire, and real estate is heavy. So someone buys a property of 10 million, 1 million is yours because you brought them. And that huge kind of reward, helped us to attract very good people and help them to stay loyal because, there's nowhere else you can go that you can earn what you are earning with me. So let's face it, you are better off make this one work. And I've always done my best to make sure we keep to. When we started, we were struggling to even pay salaries. But today the story has changed. If you join GTES, you will, even if you leave, you realize that nobody else will treat you better. Many of my staff who left us, is still the picture of the Dubai trip they had with us that is still on their DP. 2 years later, nobody else has given them a better exposure.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that is a big secret that I've had to use, and it has helped. I get professionals. Today, Falano Chamber is our retainer. We have IG of police on our team, retired IG of police. We have, I don't even joke. We're about to bring Obasanjo on the board, so that we can enter president.
Do you want to bring Tinubu on the board too? So let's know. Now, let me know. Let me cancel this show. Who are you on your board? Okay, I will free you on that. But seriously, before we go, I have, like I said, 2 more questions. Before I ask the last question, before we go into Gist House, I think it's only fair. I want to show a video of Stephen Akintayo's, one of his projects. When I asked him what is his biggest project, I thought that was his biggest project. Apparently, that's not even in the top 10. But it's big enough, and I think it's something almost everybody can chip into. He had a very short video on that. I'll play the video, then I'll ask him to just give a short explanation after that. And then for those of you who want to ask him questions about that, you already you know his name. He's everywhere, or you can chase him into Gist House. We are going there in a few minutes. But here is his latest, one of his projects that I find very, very fascinating, and I feel It is important to bring to the knowledge of every Nigerian at home and abroad.
Welcome to the frame here in Dubai. For us at GTEX Homes, we just doing the usual, just the same way Dubai. The goal is just do the unusual.
So I want to bring you up to speed. Quick updates about some of our changes. So we're having